Hey everyone, Nigel and Luke here, and welcome to Crime Zone.
A Florida veteran is being applauded for his quick thinking and decisive action this week after he came to the aid of a victim who was being carjacked in the drive-thru line of a coffee shop, ultimately helping police to take down the suspect. The whole thing unfolded one morning last week when retired Army officer Shane Spicer was waiting in the drive-thru line at a Starbucks in the city of Ocala with his girlfriend and daughter. He had just woken up about 25 minutes earlier and had yet to receive his morning coffee when out of nowhere he found himself in the middle of a dramatic situation. While sitting inside his vehicle, Spicer saw a man run up to the SUV of the customer in front of him. The man then attempted to violently carjack the female driver, who was also pregnant. What Spicer didn't know is that the man, later identified as 39-year-old Michael Prouty, was already in the middle of a disturbing crime spree. A short time earlier, he allegedly broke into a home in Sumter County where he stole a vehicle and led police on a high-speed chase. Prouty had just crashed that stolen vehicle at a nearby intersection before attempting to carjack the pregnant victim. Upon seeing that the woman was in danger, Spicer reportedly sprung into action and ran over to her vehicle, entering through the passenger side door. At this point, Prouty attempted to flee, though Spicer was able to catch him and pin him against a nearby wall until police caught up and finally placed him under arrest. According to reports, Prouty is now facing a number of charges over the incidents, including fleeing and eluding, attempted carjacking, home invasion, battery on a person over 65, and grand theft of a vehicle. The 39-year-old reportedly has a lengthy criminal history dating back to the year 2000, which includes 13 felony convictions. In an interview after everything was over, Spicer said his actions were instinctual. He stated, quote, "I feel like if you've got the ability to watch out for someone, that you should," before saying, "I would just hope that someone would do the same for my family." It's also been reported that the attempted carjacking victim later reached out to thank Spicer for his help.
Authorities in Marquette County, Michigan say that a local woman is facing murder charges this week, several months after she allegedly set the home of a family that she was working for on fire, leading to the death of an elderly man. The case began back on March 5th, when emergency responders were called with reports of a house fire in the city of Ishpeming. They arrived to find that multiple people had escaped from the blaze, but that one of the homeowners, 72-year-old Glenn Andrews, was still trapped inside. Glenn was rescued, however he suffered severe burns to a substantial portion of his body. Sadly, he ended up passing away a couple of weeks later. News of Glenn's death came not only as a significant blow to his family, but also to the broader community. He ran a well-known local butcher shop called Glenn's Smokehouse, and it even appeared on local news as part of a television cooking show. On November 6th, following months of investigation, police arrested 52-year-old Julie Boxley in connection with the case. They now allege that she deliberately started the fire that led to Glenn's death. This reportedly came as a huge shock to Glenn's loved ones. Boxley had worked as a live-in care worker for Glenn's sick wife, Linda. They had taken her in and treated her like a member of the family. However, this wasn't the only bombshell that detectives dropped. Authorities revealed this week that Boxley is also facing charges in connection with a second fire-related attack that took place nearly 2 years ago. Back on Christmas of 2021, her ex-husband James allegedly woke to find Boxley pouring an accelerant on him while he was sleeping. When he got up, understandably freaked out and asked what was happening, she reportedly began to flick lit matches from a matchbook at him and said, quote, "I hate you." Though James was briefly set on fire, he was reportedly able to put it out before he suffered any serious injuries. At the time of this recording, Boxley is now facing first-degree arson and first-degree murder charges in connection with Glenn's death, as well as third-degree arson and assault with intent to do bodily harm for the alleged attack on her husband. No information has been released about a potential motive behind the crimes, though it's said that the 52-year-old has a history of mental health issues.
Authorities in Newberry County, South Carolina, say that 2 daycare workers have been arrested and are facing charges this week following disturbing allegations that they encouraged and directed the young children in their care to fight each other. According to reports, the whole thing came to light this week when police announced the arrests of 27-year-old Erica Jones and 56-year-old Serena Caldwell. Both women were employees of the Kids Unlimited of Prosperity daycare, where all of the incidents are said to have taken place. It's now alleged that while working for the daycare, Jones and Caldwell directed children to, quote, fight or exhibit violence toward other students and allowed the violence to proceed without correction. In particular, the women are accused of being behind more than a dozen incidents involving 14 students, in which the children were instructed to shove, pull, and hit each other. The kids involved are said to be between 3 and 4 years old. Jones and Caldwell are now facing 14 and 15 counts respectively of contributing to the delinquency of a minor. The charges were laid after other staff members reported the women's behavior and security footage at the facility was reviewed. While the situation is certainly disturbing, authorities say they don't believe the crimes were systemic within the daycare itself. Rather, they allege that Jones and Caldwell were rogue employees who were fired immediately after other people discovered what was going on. At the time of this recording, the two women remain in custody.
Authorities in Dearborn County, Indiana say that a man is facing multiple charges this week, including murder, after he fatally shot his wife in front of their children during the middle of an argument on their way to get family photos. According to reports, the incident began just before noon on November 6th, when the Dearborn County Sheriff's Office received a 911 call from 45-year-old Mohammed Mondal. Mondal told dispatchers that he had just shot his wife, 40-year-old Stacy Mondal, multiple times while they were driving on Interstate 50. They had been headed to J.C. Penney with their two young children to take family photos. Initially, Mondal claimed that he had accidentally shot Stacy, but according to police, quickly changed his story to saying that it was self-defense. He stated that she had hit him with a cell phone and then reached for a handgun in the center console of their vehicle, at which point he grabbed the gun and fired at her instead. He went on to say that he was, quote, not the bad guy, and that he acted to, quote, neutralize a threat. Mondal drove to nearby St. Elizabeth Dearborn Hospital, where police caught up to him. They found Stacy slumped over in her seat. She had been shot 7 times and was pronounced dead at the scene. Mondal was then placed under arrest. During questioning, Mondal reportedly revealed that he and his wife had been having marital problems, but blamed most of them on Stacy. He said that she had affairs with multiple neighbors and that at least one of the men had been following him. Mondal also stated he believed his father-in-law had been following him on the day of the shooting. Police say so far they have found no evidence supporting the claim of Stacy's infidelity. At the time of this recording, Mondal remains in custody. He is now facing charges including murder, using a firearm in commission of a felony offense, and 2 counts of neglect of a dependent.
Authorities in Pinellas County, Florida say that an elderly man is dead this week after he was repeatedly run over in the parking lot of a bar by his own son, who then allegedly pretended like nothing had happened. The whole thing started at around 8:30 p.m. on November 11th when 86-year-old Thomas McEwen left our bar in the city of Treasure Island. Witnesses say that they saw him walk towards a black 2019 Dodge Ram which had just backed into a space in the parking lot when things took a dark turn. According to reports, Thomas appeared to fall down in front of the truck, which proceeded to start moving forward. The vehicle then ran over the elderly man several times, dragging him through the parking lot before finally taking off. Thomas was taken to a local hospital after the incident, where he was later pronounced dead. Police now claim the black truck that killed Thomas was being driven by his own son, 61-year-old Mark McEwen. While Mark apparently returned to the crime scene on foot shortly after the fatal attack and pretended not to know what was going on, it's alleged that he later confessed to the crime. He's now been arrested and charged with leaving the scene of a crash involving death, though it's believed these charges may be upgraded as authorities continue to investigate the situation. No motive behind the incident has been released. However, it has been reported that Mark McEwen may have been impaired at the time.
Authorities in Washington County, Arkansas say that a local man is facing multiple charges this week after he allegedly forced his young daughter to hide in a hidden, cramped compartment in his home in order to stop her from being taken by state child welfare workers. The whole thing unfolded on the afternoon of November 1st when police were dispatched to the residence of 40-year-old John Thompson. Thompson had been granted temporary custody of his 5-year-old daughter a little over a week prior, though that was rescinded when he failed to comply with regular drug testing, and a sample of his daughter's hair came back positive for methamphetamine. As a result, child welfare workers and police officers were sent to take the girl into their care. When authorities arrived at the house, Thompson was apparently uncooperative and would not reveal the location of his daughter. However, after some time, he reportedly led police to a closet in the master bedroom. Body cam footage shows how he proceeded to remove a section of drywall panel concealed at the back of the closet. Behind it was a small dark space where the 5-year-old girl was being kept. According to reports, the girl was scared and crying and had been told by her father that she needed to hide or else people were going to take her away from him. The space where she was hidden was apparently so cramped that she could only sit cross-legged, and once inside, she hadn't been able to get back out on her own because the drywall covering the hole was nailed in place. The only light source the girl had was a small candle, despite the fact that she was surrounded by flammable insulation. It's believed she was trapped in the space for about an hour. Following the discovery, the girl was placed in a foster home while Thompson was taken into custody. He is now facing multiple charges, including false imprisonment, endangering the welfare of a minor, and interference with child custody.
Authorities in Bullitt County, Kentucky say that they're investigating a truly heartbreaking and disturbing double murder case this week after a local mother allegedly shot and killed her own 2 sons. According to reports, the incident began shortly after 11 a.m. on November 8th when police were called to a house on the 200 block of Bentwood Drive in the city of Shepherdsville. The call came from a neighbor who said that they had entered the home to check in on the residents after they, quote, felt like something was off. Things had taken a dark turn when the neighbor walked into one of the bedrooms. There they found 2 young boys lying on a bed. They were covered in blood, and a gun was sitting nearby. Though the boys were both rushed to a hospital in Louisville, sadly, neither of them could be saved. They were pronounced dead that same day. Around the same time, police arrested 32-year-old Tiffany Lucas in connection with the shooting. She has since been identified as the mother of the 2 victims, 9-year-old Jaden and 6-year-old Maurice. At the time of this recording, few additional details have been released about the case. It's unclear what might have happened in the lead-up to the killings, nor has any potential motive been revealed. In a statement to the media, a representative from the Bullitt County Sheriff's Office simply said, quote, whether you think it's mental illness, just pure evil, a combination of both, it could be substance abuse, any combination thereof. Pick your poison, none of it is good. The result is horrific. Little is currently available about Lucas, though it's said that she previously spent a month in jail for drug possession. The only other information about her comes from family members of her 2 deceased sons, who claim that they had notified Child Protective Services several times about Lucas over the years. It's not clear what these alleged calls were regarding, though, nor to what extent CPS acted on these concerns. Lucas has now been charged with 2 counts of murder and remains in custody. The situation is still developing.
Representatives from the LAPD say that the adult son of a Hollywood power couple has been arrested on suspicion of murder this week, following a grisly discovery in a local dumpster, one which came after the disappearance of the suspect's wife and both of his in-laws. The whole thing began at around 6:15 on the morning of November 8th, when police were called to the parking lot of a business in Los Angeles' Encino neighborhood. When officers arrived, they were directed to a dumpster in the lot by a homeless man. The man said he had been looking through the bin when he stumbled across a duffel bag that had trash bags inside. In those trash bags was a headless human torso. After confirming the horrifying discovery, detectives began collecting and reviewing surveillance footage from the area. They were eventually able to link a vehicle at the scene to a suspect, 35-year-old Samuel Haskell IV. Upon connecting Haskell's vehicle to the crime scene, authorities were able to track him down and arrest him at a mall about 5 hours later. According to reports, Haskell is the son of a prominent Hollywood family. His mother is a former beauty queen and actress, while his father, Samuel Haskell III, is a Hollywood agent and producer who once represented people like Dolly Parton, George Clooney, Whoopi Goldberg, and Kathy Lee Gifford. Haskell himself appears to have been interested in the entertainment industry at one point, making several low-budget movies several years back. These movies were reportedly known for being violent and for fetishizing Asian women. At one point, the 35-year-old also maintained an Instagram account where he posted about his affluent lifestyle, frequently using the hashtag #RichKids. At the time of this recording, testing is still being carried out on the recovered remains, though authorities say they fear that they belong to Haskell's wife, 37-year-old May Haskell. May and both of her parents, 72-year-old Gaoshan Li and 64-year-old Yanxiang Wang, had been reported missing prior to the discovery. A search for them remains ongoing. While few additional details are currently available about the actual investigation, local media reports state that police were alerted about the possible presence of more remains at the Haskell residence the day before the torso was discovered. Authorities were called to the house, which is located about 5 miles from the initial crime scene, on the evening of November 7th after construction workers said they saw what appeared to be body parts in black plastic bags near the home. Upon arriving, though, police were apparently unable to find the bags in question. There were additional reports that Haskell may have tried to hire day laborers to move the bags, who realized what was inside and brought them back to the property. However, it's unclear if this has been confirmed. Investigators now say that they have searched the residence, which was home to Haskell, his missing wife, their 3 kids, and Haskell's missing in-laws. Police say they recovered blood and other evidence inside which suggested that it was a crime scene, though have declined to provide further details. At the current time, Haskell remains in custody, though it appears he has yet to face formal charges. The search for the missing family members continues. It's said that the Haskell's 3 children are alive and safe. Before we wrap up, we'd like to take a second to give a huge shout out to everyone who has made it this far into the video. Seriously, thank you so much for watching. If you found today's upload interesting and informative, we'd be honored if you'd consider liking and subscribing, as well as hitting the notification bell and selecting all notifications to stay up to date with our latest releases. If you're looking for additional ways to help support the channel, we'd love to have you join us over on Patreon. Patrons get ad-free and early access to all of our content, as well as 4 additional stories per week for each of our Crimes of the Week and Crimes of the Week International videos. You can learn more at patreon.com/crimezone, where you'll also find some of the fine folks whose names are currently on screen. All that being said, we understand that not everyone has the means to support financially, and that's totally okay. We appreciate every like, sub, share, and comment that you send our way. Once again, thanks so much everyone, and take care.